care for your child can be very expensive, but with Sagicor Life School Companion Health Plan, you've got it covered. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock, and it's time for the Morning Watch, which is brought to you this morning by Chris and Charles Investment. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles Investment.
Dear, from the Christmas season start, we notice you wearing Chris clothes, house painted looking Chris, plus you're driving a Chris car.
Kerry, you know, says Chris and Charles may get a loan from. Now I'm looking Chris for the Christmas.
Borrow $1 million and get 30% off your processing fees in less than $25,000 monthly. No guarantor needed. Be Chris for the Christmas with Chris and Charles. Call 876-920-4189 or WhatsApp 876-838-9028. Conditions apply. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. And of course, Love 101 FM is the number one gospel station in Jamaica. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. And of course, you can also check us out on Love 101 FM, Facebook, and YouTube Live. In the first and second watches today, community transformation via education and the church. In our social media question, we ask, how can education and the church help to transform our schools? Yes, how can education and the church help to transform our schools? Share your responses on our Facebook or YouTube Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your conversation on the program, but first, here's I Quote.
I Quote this morning is an integrity quote. Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted with important matters.
Amazing.
Yes, it is.
Amazing. Very important. I quote. Indeed. Very, very important. The main watch. We'll be back after this break.
Suzuki, I give you something nice for the Christmas. Something nice for the Christmas. Suzuki, I give you something nice for the Christmas. Celebrate the festive season with a brand new Suzuki XL7 or Vitara and enjoy the gift of huge savings. Get 5 years warranty, $400,000 cash back, 2 years free servicing, 1 year Amber Tracker, and free tinting with every purchase. So from now until December 31, forget about Santa and come get yourself something nice for the Christmas from Suzuki. Only at Stewart's Automotive Group, South Camp Road, Kingston, and Iron Shore Bay. Conditions apply.
Sometimes all we need is a listening ear. The listening ear, the counseling, the logical reasoning, and spiritual guidance are what appeal to us. That's why I'm here. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, the counselor, your counselor on Love 101 FM, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. You know you can call on me. I will listen and more. So let's talk about what's bothering you. Anything. Tune in, listen, call in, text or voice message. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, counseling psychologist, ready with a listening ear. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. Right here on the family station, Love 101 FM.
There, from the Christmas season start, me notice you wearing Chris clothes, house painted looking Chris, plus you're driving a Chris car.
Kerry, you know says Chris and Charles may get a loan from. Now I'm looking Chris for the Christmas.
Borrow $1 million and get 30% off your processing fees in less than $25,000 monthly. No guarantor needed. Be Chris for the Christmas with Chris and Charles. Call 876-920-4189 or WhatsApp 876-838-9028. Conditions apply. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Let's give ourselves the best gift yet. Great mobile and internet. Value the whole year long. Garden Road's the best to get. Flo has savings just for you. Give great Christmas gifts, it's true. Samsung tablet for my boo. Samsung Fold 2. Our moments together with Flo Garden Road, it's better. This Christmas, Flo gives the best to you.
With Yard & Road, get a Samsung tablet or a phone for just $999 plus GCT.
Flo gives the best to you.
Conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Thanks for staying with us. And in both watches today, of course, as we indicated, we'll be looking at community transformation by education and the church. And this is an extremely important topic, ladies and gentlemen, young persons, because between the various states of emergencies and the recent mayhem just this week as taximen went on strike, and not the strike per se, but some of the violent incidents that occurred during the strike, and with all the various criminality taking place in the country, some of which results in fatalities, and the proliferation of scamming and the advent of gangs and their influence on schools, gang members themselves being students of some schools, it is indicated, and all the various threats to law and order. It begs the question, what is the role of the church in all of this? And it is often said that the church is doing nothing, but is that really so? Some will even ask the question as to whether the church ought to be involved in the first place. Should this area of transforming society for the better, for all concerned, especially since not every student is a Christian, not every citizen is a Christian, some would argue that you should let the state alone attend to that and let the church remain perhaps within its own four walls or within its own area of influence with its own members. Very interesting. Now, to make sense of all of this today, as we explore transformation through education and what is the role of the church, we have as our guests for both watches Bishop Dr. Glenford Duffus. He's principally an educator. First of all, he's an educator. He also manages 13 churches in North America and the Caribbean. No small feat. He is a chair of the Canadian Jamaican Diaspora Christian Alliance as well. We also have as a guest someone who is in the midst of the education sector in Jamaica. As we speak, he is the principal of the St. James High School, and I will add that his own son is a shining star from that very same school, Principal Joseph Williams. In addition, we have none other than the very co-host of the Mailbox on Love 101 FM. He's also senior pastor of Fellowship Tabernacle Portmore and chairman of Magava and the chief executive officer of Left Wrong, Do Right, Pastor Courtney Morrison. Bishop Dr. Glenford Duffus, Joseph Williams, Pastor Courtney Morrison. Good morning to all three of you.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Wow, so much to unravel and to unpack in this entire segment today and the next segment. Both watches, getting right into it, sirs. Can schools really be transformed given our present scenario in Jamaican schools and communities? And because we have a principal amongst our midst, not in any way saying that Bishop Dr. Duffus, we couldn't start with him, or Pastor Morrison, but Joseph Williams, you're in the midst of this journey. Tell us, sir, in your own words, sir, is it possible to transform a Jamaican school in a Jamaican community in 2022?
Well, thank you very much. Right now, as far as St. James High School, for example, is concerned, is not if. This is what has happened. Many people in Western Jamaica and probably throughout Jamaica and even diaspora would have known about senior school, St. James High. I did an interview for the Post in 2002, November 27th. And at the interview, I think this was what got me the job. When I was asked by the then chairman, Colonel Dr. Lee Bailey, he said, Mr. Williams,
Mr. Williams?
You have applied and the school is under fire and you want to come to St.
Mr. Williams, are we hearing it?
James High and infant school in Clarendon. I said, sir, I'll answer you this way. In the force, now if school is under fire, I'm going to call for, in my response, that if the school is under fire, I will call for backup. And the
Mr.
first
Williams,
backup I will open that offended board. That's what
Mr. Williams.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Williams, I'm thinking that we will probably try to connect with you in another way because your line is a bit spotty. Your StreamYard line is a bit spotty. I'm going to speak to someone else until we get this resolved. Bishop Dr. Glenford Duffus. Any thoughts, sir, in terms of whether we can in fact do community transformation via the school system? You yourself, you're an educator. Assist us, Bishop.
Thank you so much for the question. I think that is a very pertinent and relevant question in any conversation about transformation. From my vantage point as an educator that I've been for over 45 years and running concurrently with my career as an educator is my religious responsibility. I am able to see it from those two perspectives and to see how a merge or a melding of the two can be instructive in the work that we do within our community.
Bishop Dr. Duffus, excellent way to open. We are upon the 7:15 break. Hold your thoughts for a moment. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Ladies, this is a public service announcement. Have no fear. Do your pop smear. For you don't want no crosses, take you down there. Now the way this your test you set up on design is to pick up early warning sign before any cancer start to appear. And if you get treatment, then you don't care. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. Love and big up and respect yourself. Make sure that you protect yourself. If you do your pap smear, if you protect yourself.
A message brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Tired of them answer, man. Every single place in the house to find it.
Tired of them? You need to call Rhyme Pest Control and get a free inspection and a free consultation done. Call them at 876-803-1377 or visit them website www.rhymopestcontrol.com, and you can also find them on Instagram. Them deal with pests like termites, rodents, mosquitoes, ants, cockroaches, flies, and that. How is she gone?
Yes, hello, I'm calling about
Rhyme Pest Control. Best for pests. Call them right now.
Your child is beginning to discover the world. It's time to let them explore. Clim 1 Plus contains calcium, iron, and vitamins that support their defenses, helping to promote a healthy immune system and a normal growth. After all, your little explorer has the whole world to discover. Clim, your love, their future. Clim 1 Plus is not a breast milk substitute. It is specially suited for 1 year onward.
Let's give ourselves the best gift yet. Great mobile and internet. Value the whole year long. Garden Road's the best to get. Flo has savings just for you. Give great Christmas gifts, it's true. Samsung tablet for my boo. Samsung Fold 2. Our moments together with Flo. Garden Road, it's better. This Christmas, Flo gives the best to you.
With Garden Road, get a Samsung tablet or a phone for just $999 plus GCT.
Flo gives the best to you.
Conditions apply.
Get better coverage for yourself and your family as low as $800 a month. The time by JN Life Vest from JN Life Insurance is
7:18, and we're inside the Morning Watch.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the main watch, and of course, both watches today, my apologies, both watches today are dedicated to the topic, community transformation via education at the church. Our guests are Bishop Dr. Glenford Duffus of Canada. He is the chair of the Canadian Jamaican Diaspora Christian Alliance, and we have Joseph Williams as well. He is the principal of St. James High School, and Pastor Courtney Morrison, Senior Pastor, Fellowship Tabernacle, and of course, co-host of the Mailbox on Love 101 FM. Bishop Duffus, you're saying that it is possible for there to be transformation through education, and with the church playing a role. Please continue, sir.
As I was saying before, the churches or the education system really should be focusing on the human development. And this is achieved through the number of programs that are delivered that meet diverse needs for skill development, but also the ability of the education system to work on behavior modification that is crucial to any form of development that we are going to achieve within our society. Also, we have the trust factor that the church has and its resources through its membership that can be used in collaboration or partnership with the education system. This has been done in many jurisdictions, even in the Jamaican context at various levels over a period of time. And I am speaking to you from a point of an attempt made in an area that is more characterized, like you described earlier on, where there is poverty, there is violence plaguing our schools, behavior is out of what I would call out of whack, underachievement, disenfranchised individuals, and all of that. And I have managed to institute and programs and activities and all kinds of partnerships that change the trajectory of underachievement and alienation and all of those things to positivity within the community, and achievement level improve, behavior changes, and all kinds of things happening. So it can be done.
So, Bishop, what kind of things specifically have you done, or have you presided over, or you know, as it were, organized or managed in Canada, for instance?
The first school to which I was promoted as principal in the Canadian context seems to be similar to what my brother there,
Joseph Williams,
spoke about when he went to, is it Montego Bay High?
No, St. James High.
St. James High.
Yes.
And my first order of priority was to express to my staff my own belief that all students can learn. They just learn differently. They come to the learning task with different lived experiences, and they come with different backgrounds and different maturity, interests, etc. And so we as a staff had to believe that they can learn. And we have to create the programs and opportunities to ensure that that is going to take place. So it requires an attempt to change mindset, change the mindset from one of our psychologists, Carol Dweck, called fixed to growth mindset. And
so Bishop Duffus, I know I'm cutting into what you're saying, but when the students start to behave badly, specifically, yes, what were some of the things that were done at your school? Because, or you know, because students may test what you're trying to do. How did the administrators of the school respond?
Well, there were quite a number of programs alongside the academic programs that were instituted, because a lot of behavioral problems were because of unmet learning needs. So we had to address that piece, but in concurrent to those needs, we instituted what we call character education, which identified certain values that we want to develop as a society, as a school. We started out with respect. In every culture, there is respect, and we made sure that we built a program of teaching and learning and identifying and recognizing and awarding behavior around the values. So we had a program on character education. We also had a program on restorative practices, which includes a collaboration with the police force. They would be able to come into our building and help us with not just enforcing and arresting kids and all of that for misbehavior, but to help us walk through a process of how behavior affects individual, how that behavior can be, how people can take responsibilities for those behavior, and how we can prevent those inappropriate behaviors from reoccurring. So we have a restorative justice system operating within the school. We also had, running concurrently with that, conflict resolutions and conflict management strategies that we incorporated within our curriculum, aligned with our what you would call in your context your PTA. We call it our parent council here, and our community partners coming on board to help us do that. All of these didn't prevent us from suspending kids and even taking kids for expulsion if the needs require.
So, Bishop, what were some of the positive outcomes that you had? And I always that you experienced or saw, and I'm also seeing where you are the author of a book, Academic Excellence Through Equity, When Money Talks. But before we get to the book, sir, can you tell us about some of the positive outcomes you saw?
In a very short while, after the first year of implementation at the school, we had suspension rate dropped significantly. We have office referrals dropped again significantly. I remember one of the safe schools officers, we have some from the board attached to schools, came into the school one day, came into my office and said, "Glenford, where are the students?" I said, "What do you mean by where are the students?" He said, "I walked through the hallway coming into the building and I haven't seen anybody." I said, "They are at their classes. That's where kids go. They go to classes." So we developed a culture that changed the whole atmosphere in the school, that all of our kids who come into that building know where they are supposed to go. They go there, and we, by the time we get to the second year, there was significant achievement level that was raised within the building, and the story continues in the third and fourth year.
When you say achievement level raised, what do you mean by achievement level raised?
Student passes in courses, both at their graduation point and during the year.
I see. And your book, sir, Academic Excellence Through Equity. Tell us a little bit about that, because it seems to be quite an interesting book. It talks about your research and your teaching interests encompassing leadership and school community partnership and a number of other things. Tell us a little bit about that, sir.
The book kind of chronicles a lot of my research and experience around poverty and education. And there is an intersectionality of race and poverty, and even to a certain extent, geography, where people live.
Yes.
And the kind of resources they can access or denied or that kind of thing. So I've looked at, and based on my work experience in a number of jurisdictions significantly affected by poverty and violence, etc., I've looked at some of the schools in the area that have done extremely well and kind of research what were some of the factors contributing to their success. And we looked at leadership and transformative leadership, to be specific, in terms of a leader who focuses on social justice issues, notices that there are inequities in our society, whether they become by wealth or income or
very interesting, Bishop Duffus. Only because of time, I want to bring in Pastor Courtney Morrison before we head to another break. But we are going to revisit all of what you're saying, sir, when we return. Pastor Courtney Morrison, we have heard quite a bit from Bishop Duffus. He has made excellent contributions, clearly, within his own sphere. Any lessons that we can learn here in Jamaica? We are having challenges getting Joseph Williams back online, but Pastor Morrison?
We want to first say thank you, Stokeley, for congratulations and well done to both Bishop Duffus and Principal Williams for the tremendous work he's doing there. Well, it was formerly Montego Bay High School, now St. James High School, and for the work that Bishop Duffus is doing over there in the United States. But one of the points I wanted to make earlier is that here in Jamaica, we have quite a remarkable system that both school education and church are intricately and intimately intertwined, in that most of our schools.
Pastor Morrison, hold that thought. You did mention that church and schools are heavily intertwined. Hold that thought, because we're heading to another break. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Achieving your own sweet home in 30 days. The Time by Jan Bank Mortgage is
7:30. And remember, the Morning Watch is brought to you today by Christian Charles Investments. When you think loans, think Christian Charles Investments.
With your sympathy, everything grace, everything juicy. Could that be your last one you spend it time using? When you're hungry, where you buy it? 1 dozen juicy patty, I make everything juicy. Patty them add full of flavor. When you're hungry, juicy patty save you. You want meat and you is vegetarian. Everything there, what me say? Yeah, everything juicy. Fire patty and don't get the crumbs. Not even hands pan you gonna get none. Juicy patty at the tank at the town. With juicy patty, everything crisp, everything juicy. Yeah, juicy.
Colgate Triple Action. 3 benefits for a deep clean. As a mother, you always want to give the best to your family and to make them happy. With Colgate Triple Action, you give them 3 reasons to smile: cavity protection, whiter teeth, and fresh breath. A unique formula with a minty flavor they will love. Colgate Triple Action. Find it at your favorite store.
They're full of life. You're full of love. They're carefree. You care more. That's why we created Child Protector, a critical illness insurance plan from Sagicor Life. It provides coverage for your child in the event of 15 critical illnesses, hospitalization benefits, life insurance, and investment benefits. So make sure your child can live life to the fullest. Apply for Sagicor Child Protector today.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look now at the various news sources to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we have here in the Gleaner, illegal gun and ammo seized in St. Thomas. 2 arrested. And we have here in the Jamaica Observer, fuel theft hurting JUTC. That story by Althea Sumner, senior staff reporter at the Jamaica Observer. We turn now to Loop News and Loop Jamaica News. We have a headline here: taxis, buses back on strike. Very interesting stories in the various news sources. And of course, coming up next, we have feedback from our social media question, which of course is: how can education and the church help to transform our schools? If you haven't done so yet, leave a comment on our Facebook or YouTube, Love 101 FM Jamaica Live. That's Love 101 FM Jamaica Live. And also WhatsApp your comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
On Thursday, November 17, the Jamaica Council of Churches, JCC, hosts its symposium entitled Pursuing Peace, Affirming Human Dignity at the United Theological Seminary of the West Indies, beginning at 4 p.m., with special dignitaries Honorable Delroy Chuck, Minister of Justice, Senator Donna Scott Motley, Opposition Spokesperson on Justice, and Professor Elizabeth Ward. Join Love 101 FM this Thursday, November 17 at 4 p.m. as we will share with you a live broadcast of this symposium, Pursuing Peace, Affirming Human Dignity. That's the Jamaica Council of Churches JCC Symposium, Thursday, November 17 at 4 p.m. Catch it all on the family station, Love 101.
I've got love in my heart and I'm feeling blessed.
Are you ready for another exciting show inside Alive 1 to 5 this Throwback Thursday, November 17th? Join me, your host, Sarah, and the Jerby One for another time to recollect and to reconnect. Stick around for Verb Blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the pearl bells of heaven. 2:15 inside Pieces of the Past. We continue to look at Farming Traditions, Part 2. Then at 3 p.m., we bring you Proverbially Speaking, sayings about hunger. All this will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. This Throwback Thursday, November 17 on the family station, Love 101.
Give him praise, give him praise.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley. Let's join Deidre to see what our friends on Facebook and WhatsApp have said in response to the social media question, which is, how can education and the church help to transform our schools? Deidre.
Diana says, don't stop doing positive things for our children. Fast and pray constantly. Also get involved with their daily activities. Delia says that social media and the church can reach the youths by putting out contents which are edifying because most young people are on social media today. Sometimes adults refuse to set examples although they have children. The things that they utter or put out in the public is so distasteful. The church, on the other hand, can do walks even on their day of worship, whether it is on the Sabbath, Saturday, or Sunday. And wherever they see young people, just stop, give them a word of encouragement, and pray with them. I think this will help. This is Delia. Yes, Delia from St. James. Marcia also sends her comments. We have a voice note from Marlene from Woodburn.
Good morning. Church and school has a good way of playing out for community. I remember the days when I used to go to school and still go to Sunday school, and that's what made me a Christian because the church used to come and they used to teach in school. I have a day for it. But a lot of school is taking Christ out of the picture. And that's the reason why many of our school are the way they are, the children are the way they are. Because at the end of the day, they are taking Christ out of the school. Until they start putting back Christ in the school where you learn about principles and morals and parenting and how to be a good stewardship, then our society that we are living in will never be a better society. And
Good morning. The Christian sound like a true Christian, and that's just my opinion. Because if the parents in the home are not doing the right thing, how whatever you do in the home, it flows into society. And God give us a commandment in Proverbs 22, verse 6. We all know it. Train up a child. And these parents are younger generation, but nobody is training the child. Nobody. Or some grandparents are not there. Our grandparents are young themselves. But these children need training and godly training. The Bible tells us clearly what to do. And if we train them from home, bring them to church, when we bring them to school, it won't be that chaotic and problematic for the teachers and society because it begins somewhere. It starts at home. So let us look back. It's not just the church, it's the school, it's the home. So we should have devotion at home, devotion at school, and devotion at church. We should have it all our Sunday school. But you got to do it right. You got to set an example. And let us be mindful that whatever we sow, that's what we're gonna reap. So whatever in society, that's what we all have sown.
That one there from Joan Dawkins from Connecticut. We also have Faith from Washington Gardens that says home first.
Very interesting, Deidre. Those are the comments we have so far.
Yes, they are.
And in relation to that caller or the person who sent the voice note rather, who said it sounds like a trick question. As I listened to her answer, I don't think she really meant to say it's a trick question. What I think she's really saying is that because these things should be taught from the home, maybe the question should have included something about the home. I'm not too sure, but I don't think she really meant to say it's a trick question. But we thank all of our callers, listeners, for sending in their various comments. Very interesting. We continue, listeners, with this topic as we had started in the first watch and continued into the second watch, both watches. The topic is community transformation by education and the church. Community transformation by education and the church. And our guests are Bishop Dr. Glenford Duffus of Canada. He's the chair of the Canadian Jamaican Diaspora Christian Alliance. We also have Joseph Williams, principal of St. James High. We had him on the line and we're trying to get him back on. And of course, Pastor Courtney Morrison, senior pastor, Fellowship Tabernacle Portmore and co-host of the Mailbox on Love 101 FM. Pastor Morrison, just before the break, you were making some very important contributions there, talking about the link or the alliance between church and many schools in Jamaica. Continue, Pastor Morrison.
Thank you very much, Stokeley. And so we see where almost all of our schools in Jamaica was church run, church owned. Most of our traditional high schools over here in Greater Portmore, the newer schools that are built, if it's not run by a church, then at least 3 churches hold their services in that particular building between Saturday and Sunday evenings. And so one of the things
Pastor
that
Morrison,
I learned...
Pastor Morrison, I know that I'm interjecting here, but we know that many churches are associated with schools, or you have many church schools. That's a given fact. However, there is still so much of a problem and a challenge in many schools in Jamaica with the infiltration of violence, gang members.
Exactly where I was leading to.
Right. So help us there, sir, because having church schools alone or having schools with heavy church influence doesn't seem to alone by itself curtail the problem.
Which goes back now to the administration. When I listen to the testimony of Sir Joseph Williams down there in St. James High School, it means the administration, along with the church and the students, play a great role in ensuring transformation. We heard the testimony of Bishop Duffus as well.
Pastor Morrison, hold the thought there, because you're saying church and school, administration of the school, etc., play a key role. However, some may argue that you should let the government alone attend to this. Why is the church, as it were?
I learned something the year the former Minister of Education, Royal Reid, was challenged about the devotional transformational programs that he was having at Jamaica College. And when he was challenged, I learned that Christian devotions is indelibly written into the Constitution of Jamaica. And so it would seem, unless the Constitution has changed or is going to be changed, then there has to be that partnership between the government, churches, and schools.
Well, to my understanding, Pastor Morrison, that may not be the specific language used in the Constitution, although the Constitution does allow churches that own schools to provide Christian teaching, which would likely include devotions in their relevant schools. But anyway, continue what you're saying, sir.
The point I'm making, though, is that there was a serious resistance to even Christian principles being done in school for transformation through values and attitudes, through the devotionals. And it is that resistance, and in line with what Ms. Dawkins said on that voice note, Christian parents, the church must never ever be seen to be limited to 4 walls. The church is the people that make up that body. And so when we come together, and significantly, the theme for Parent Month this year is Reignite the Village. And so it takes a village to raise a child. And when we're talking about transformation, we have to ask ourselves, what is that village? Who comprises that village? And I do believe
Very
when it comes
interesting,
down
Pastor
to
Morris. And I do
education,
believe, very interesting, Pastor Morris. And I do believe we are upon a break already. Please stay with us, listeners. We'll be right back in the morning watch.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
International gospel music ministers Chandler Moore and Naomi Rain from Maverick City take the stage live at the National Stadium alongside Kevin Downswell, Harleen Davis, Rhoda Isabella, and Rondell Positive as Kingdom Culture presents the Well Encounter, the ultimate worship experience. National Stadium, Saturday, December 10. Early bird tickets at SpurOpen.com/TWE22. Follow on Instagram, the Well Encounter Experience. Sponsored by Purity, Sadcore, Love 101 FM, Grace, Pepsi.
Let's give ourselves the best gift yet. Great mobile and internet. Value the whole year long. Garden Road's the best to get. Flo has savings just for you. Give great Christmas gifts, it's true. Samsung tablet for my boo. Samsung Fold 2. Our moments together with Flo Garden Road, it's better. This Christmas, Flo gives the best to you.
With Garden Road, get a Samsung tablet or a phone for just $999 plus GCT.
Flo gives the best to you.
Conditions apply.
This is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Labor rights? We gather in our thousands at the National Arena, Sunday, November 20th for the 79th Annual Conference of the Jamaica Labour Party. Here, Prime Minister and Party Leader, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, Party Chairman Bobby Montague, General Secretary Dr. Horace Chang, Conference Chairman Desmond McKenzie, First Lady MP Juliet Holness, Deputy Leaders, Party Affiliates and others deliver on the theme, Jamaica Stronger, one government, one JLP, one Jamaica Stronger. Bells ringing, green shirt, green flag, checked. The conference of the JLP, Sunday, November 20th, National Arena. You can't miss it. We now miss it. See you there.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour.
I've got love in my heart and I'm feeling blessed.
Are you ready for another exciting show inside Alive? 1 to 5 this Throwback Thursday, November 17th. Join me, your host, Sarah, and the Jervy One for another time to recollect and to reconnect. Stick around for Verb Blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the pearl bells of heaven. 2:15 inside Pieces of the Past. We continue to look at farming traditions, part 2. Then at 3 p.m., we bring you Proverbially Speaking, sayings about hunger. All this will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. This Throwback Thursday, November 17 on the family station, Love 101.
Give him praise, give him praise.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We continue with our discussion on community transformation by education and the church. And we do apologize to our listeners for that slight break a while ago. We are trying to find out what exactly had happened, but we are now back. We have as our guests Bishop Dr. Glenford Duffus, an educator who manages 13 churches in North America and the Caribbean, and he's a chair of the Canadian Jamaican Diaspora Christian Alliance. We also have Joseph Williams, principal of St. James High, who is back with us and Pastor Courtney Morrison, Senior Pastor Fellowship Tabernacle Portmore and co-host of the Mailbox on Love 101 FM. Gentlemen, we would like to know what can be done now in Jamaica to improve and better the conditions of our schools here. And I want to bring in Joseph Williams again because he was outlining for us earlier before we lost him how St. James High was transformed. Mr. Williams, give us some recommendations that we can apply to the wider cross-section of Jamaica.
Oh yes, sir. I'm glad even while I was out, most of the things I wanted to say, they were said by the other two gentlemen. So we haven't lost anything. I see where if we follow our pledge, it says, before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty. And the national anthem, it speaks to God. So there is no controversy unless we move away from that. For example, as I said at St. James High, what came to me and I told them was that we have the connection, the church and the school. At St. James High, we give God thanks. We have every Monday in each month, there's a church. We have a chaplain. And we include a number of churches. So our chaplain, Reverend Dr. David Thomas, first Monday, and he has to wake up early. God bless them. It's a shift school and it begins at 7. So he's there before 7 sometimes. Most times he's there before the principal. And they share with the students. The second Monday in each month, it's Byway and Edges Deliverance Ministry. That's where I now worship. It's now the Spiritual Hospital of Jesus Christ. And on the third Monday, it's Faith Temple, the Custos, and Herbert Bishop Pitkin. That's his church. And we have two faithful sisters. Their attendance is better than many students or staff members. 7 o'clock in the morning for morning shift devotion. We start with God. We put God first.
That's amazing.
It's in the pledge. It's in the national anthem. And the fourth Monday, Church of Jesus Christ, Perry Street, is their duty. So they welcome it and they work with us. And then on the afternoon shift, we have the grade supervisors. People are from different denominations. You share the word because in the beginning was the word, and we are dealing with words in school.
Yes.
Also at St. James High, what happened is that we look at the situation. So the church that comes in, they are aware of what is the situation, what's the problem. They are from the same communities. So when they give a word in the morning, the word resonates with the students and it goes home to the community.
Yes.
We spoke earlier about gang. We need about 3 or 4 gangs in St. James High. We need a mathematics gang, because back in slavery, they used to have the first gang and second, where they gang up to do work. There's no gang in St. James High if it's negative. Because what happened, when I look at the situation, and I used to be using the rough method, I realized when students were in gang and fight and so forth, weapon, drugs, when I was to do the suspension and to write up the notices, there's a section, father's name, you have mother's name. When you reach father's name, every time, no, sir, I don't know my father, so then kill my father, so I don't know father. So it came to me.
Is that so, Mr. Williams?
I declare now that I'm the father for the whole 2,000 odd students.
I see.
And then now it became a family.
I see.
So I told them in my family, big large family that I'm from, we don't fight each other. And we don't have gang in there. Some might be a little disobedient, yes, but you have to face the consequences. That's what we need to do. We have to take it personal. I went further and I put my children at the school.
And your son has done very well, Mr. Williams. I'm seeing where your son, Josan, is a high achiever.
Yes. He was in a newspaper when he was placed there, and
Just
their
last
media
year,
interview
November,
without my
just
permission.
about 1
Not
year
just one
ago,
son, you know.
just last
Jotan
year, yes.
passed 11 last year. Jodel passed 12 this year.
Yes.
And the youngest
Very
one, with over
congratulations,
90,
sir.
in the top 4%, she's in grade 7. The other two, I have 2 children before. They grew up in Clarendon. They went to Clarendon College. They would have passed 9 each. That's the top number they could do at the school they went to. But what happened now? When we own these students, that's the recommendation. Treat them like they are our own. Some people say, what am I saying? As Reverend Duffer said, there are students who used to be expelled. I no longer take students to board because it's too much time. You know the consequence. And when you are expelled, it could affect you going on the farm work program and so. So I say you change the environment. I have other principal friends. So you lose your chance at St. James and you have to go somewhere else. That's how we operate.
Mr. Williams,
now,
Mr. Williams, only because of time, and I see Bishop Duffus nodding his head and smiling. I see Pastor Courtney Morrison nodding and smiling. You concur, Pastor Morrison? You concur with that fatherly approach, Mr. Morrison, that Mr. Williams has been indicating he has used it.
Yes. When you own the children as yours and take it personal like that, then and children start calling you daddy or uncle, the relationship is different. Then the value and attitude that you pass on is the ones that they will inculcate and display.
Pastor Morrison, thank you for that, sir. Bishop Duffus, can you, as we wrap the program today, sir, leave us with some other recommendations, if you will. I saw you nodding and smiling as Joseph Williams was speaking there a moment ago. Bishop Duffus.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marshall. I think I was really nodding because it hinges on the personal relationship that you as leader of the school and your staff develop with these young people who come through your door. But I also see the society as an organization that cannot just operate independently, but it has its component parts, which education is just one part of it that must be in alignment with the other parts to function well. And so I just want to leave with you and the audience today a snippet of a program that was established by our church called Generation Chosen, led by Dr. Joseph Smith, a member of the church, and some other church members. We recognize that our church, while we could do a significant number of things, could not fund all the necessary programs and activities needed within the community. So we have established a not-for-profit organization that is connected to the church, but can attract other kinds of funding sources from government and other businesses, etc. And this program offers opportunities in emotional intelligence, civic engagement, entrepreneurship, STEM, and all other kinds of things, which reintegrates young people to their society, their community, their education system, and it's doing a marvel within the community. Yes,
Bishop
sir.
Duffus, you have said so many things which can open up another conversation. STEM, entrepreneurship, and we could continue. We need to have you back, Bishop Dr. Glenford Duffus. We need to have you back. We need to have all three of you back. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for your valuable contributions this morning. Only because of time, never enough time on the morning watch. Thank you so much for your time and for your thoughts, and you for being with us today as well. Very interesting discussion on the morning watch. And of course, visit our YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and all other Love 101 FM programs. And of course, download our Love 101 app and stay connected to us. We are the number 4 station and in the island and the number 1 station for gospel in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Have a blessed weekend and join Reverend Dr. Dallin Toussaint next week as he looks at other topical and controversial issues. And of course, thanks to our producer Kathy Gale and to our guests. I am Stokeley Marshall, handing it back to them in the morning with Deidre Parchment.
The Morning Watch was brought to you today by Chris and Charles Investments. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles Investments.
You could be caught in the crossfire if you